Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Nemesis. You're watching RN Homesteading. Uh, what I got going on today, we're going to do some worm feeding, guys. This will actually be kind of interesting if you guys are looking to make your own fertilization for your own plants and stuff. This is a great setup for it. So let's bring you in a little bit closer over here. I'll show you what I got going on the table here. And if you like this content, give it a muddy thumbs up and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and dig in. Before you start digging into all this stuff, rings and stuff, definitely pull them off if you don't want to get them all nastified. I would also sit there, and if you're squeamish about getting your hands dirty or whatever, wear some gloves if that's what you want to do. But this is what I get down and dirty on here. So in here, I've got cats, so I've got a prolific amount of buckets that I can always get my hands on. So I use them for various storage containers, always repurpose and reuse when necessary. And then this is shredded up mail. So I don't have to worry about getting my data stolen through mail because I just compost it up, right? In here is the business end. We'll dive into this in a second. We're going to see the other ingredients I got here. Since I've got all the chickens, I've got a lot of chicken egg shells that I'm able to sit there and put it through like a bullet grinder. Anything really that you can just sit there and pulverize the eggshell. What it does for the worms is worms kind of are like birds. Birds don't have teeth. They have a gizzard. So birds will eat like little bit of pieces of dirt and stuff like that, and it helps crush whatever they're eating. Worms do the same thing. Believe it or not, it's kind of cool little process. And then here is some stuff that I have frozen and then unthawed. And then I probably should have done this the other day, but you know, I forgot all about it. And then here is spent coffee grounds. You don't want to use fresh coffee grounds, but this is all used coffee grounds here. And this is like really good for the worms. So you got a good food source for the worms here. And you want to use spent coffee grounds. So if there's like coffee you don't like, don't just give them the coffee grounds. It's actually a little too acidic for them. So spent coffee grounds gets the acidity out of there, and you're able to give it to them. And then you got your calcium here, plus the worm grits, and then food scraps. Anything that goes bad in your refrigerator is now compostable. And then what I have in here I got them from Uncle Jim's Worms online. They are red wigglers, and then I've got European night crawlers in here. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So this is the composting system here. There's nothing special with it. This is just your regular Rubbermaid tote with a couple of holes drilled onto the bottom, so if any high amount of water gets into the system, that it has a way to drain out. And then you use the lid of this bucket as your catch tray. Super low budget. And then you're using the paper for two things. One, it gives them that carbon, and this is food to them. And then two, it helps keep moisture onto the surface of this in case your house gets dry. If it gets really dry out, or if you live in a desert area, you are going to be adding water to the system. Worms do need a bit of moisture, and you don't need it to be like sopping wet. It just needs to be, moist. Doesn't need to be like drowning in water. And I like the consistency of this. It's crumbly. It's not like I'm sitting here picking up a little bit more deeper in, and here we got some worms already. And I'm barely dug in, but maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And that's typical of how red wigglers are. You'll see them, and then here's a little baby guy. And that's what you want to also see. You want to see adults and babies. The smaller they are, the more you know that they're repopulating. I did a big harvest because I was setting up, and as you guys have seen, I've been setting up for little seedlings and stuff. So I've done pretty big harvests. And see, even this is like, even though it's a clump here, I put a little pressure and it just literally just crumbles in your hand. That is a perfect consistency. Oh, I love it. That's when you know you got a good bin going. Don't try to sit there and do big feedings on a bin that you're just starting out. The way I feed is not how I would suggest anybody else just sit there and feed. And here I'm going to get a little bit down and dirty, so we're going to break this up a little bit. I fed down in here before. Now, typically I do a wedge system where I'll have one little feeding zone, and then I'll have my my finished castings. And I'm going to be sitting here and kind of starting to set up into that setup again. So it's more or less I'm going to be taking and raking this back, because like some of this stuff that's on the top is going to be more finished than what's underneath, which is fine, and it'll be more wet. And as you come into here, we get way more worms going on. Like everything's got some like crazy amount of worms, so you know that they're super active, even with my big monster feeding that I did with them. And we got a good amount of moisture down in the bottom. It's more clumpy. We got a mango shell here. That's been my mango experiment. Here we got a nice little worm colony. Yeah, good worms. So now we're going to start setting up for the system, and more resetting it, and this will encourage them to start their feedings and migrations a little bit differently. The more you can make the worms move around, the more they get into everything too. All right, so I'm going to try to leave like the avocado pits down into the bottom. All the big stuff I'm going to try to start now leaving down over there. Just because, yeah, why not, right? So, and the way that I like to do this is I put some dry stuff down first, which will be my paper. Some people wet their bedding a little bit. If you're in a dry area, I would wet your bedding. It's a little dry my time of year, but because I'm adding in stuff that is got a moisture content to it, like banana peels, got a moisture content to it, more banana peels. Let's see here. What kind of interesting stuff we got? Okay, we got some moldy strawberries. I don't want to touch that. Thank God my garbage can's right here. Sometimes when you're messing with this stuff, make sure your garbage can's nice and handy. And I'm gonna put some, like I said, I want to keep, like, this is wet stuff, so I want to keep some of the dry material going on there. And this stuff is as easy as can be. This is, you know, I'm slowing this down and explaining stuff. It usually takes me just but a few moments to do this. A little bit of crushed eggshells. And you don't even have to put a whole lot on there. It's bam, done. That's all you need. Bam. Just like that. Bam. And I probably should have pulled out some more food for them, but you know what? It's good right now. I'm making them move through this, and there's going to be a lot of paper down in here that they can consume also. So they're not without food. So now they'll have a choice. And what I do from here, since this bin is pretty much, it's done, I do a little bit of sprinkle on there like this, just to kind of cover up that dirt. I forgot to stick this stuff back down on this side. Cover that up. Be our little secret. And bam. Now we've got the wedge system set up here. after a big harvest. So now I will be able to harvest from the top 6 inches of this with this system and constantly be drawing, fluffing this up back here and then drawing this back as I fluff up. So this will all become finished product right up on top, which is amazing. So, and then in the bottom corner of this will be like a breeding zone for them to lay eggs and all that stuff. It'll have a higher moisture content in there. So they'll have their areas where they'll be able to escape to for if, let's say, the food you put in there starts to ferment a little bit. The worms will move away, and you want to make sure they've got other food sources. So this covers everything for them. All right, so this is Future Nemesis with Future Ian over there, and basically the worm video that I just got done doing a few days ago. It was a pretty lengthy one where I was going over both bins, and I kind of felt like it would do better justice for you guys if I split those up into a couple of different videos, just because there was a lot going on with both both segments of the bin. So I was gonna end it right here, and again have a part 2 basically. So we'll just split this 2 up, and if you guys got any comments or questions, certainly drop those in down below. I do look at all of that good stuff. And with that being said, while you're down there, smash that Lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and of course, may your thumbs always be green. I'll see you on the next one.